There's my cursor. So if you do get in late, well, you won't hear what I'm saying right now, but if you do get in late, you'll be able to get a recording. So I'm going to do a quick introduction before Edgar and Katie take over with the demonstration of Yellowfin, but I just wanted to give a quick introduction about WhereScape. WhereScape has been around, excuse me, as a company for 20 years. We started as a software consulting company building data warehouses and realized pretty quickly that we were doing a lot of repetitive tasks. So we started developing tools that would automate those tasks, generate code, create relationships, and those kinds of things. And those tools turned out to be incredibly productive. In fact, some of our customers started asking if they could buy those tools from us. At that point, WhereScape stopped being a consulting company and became a software company. We've got about 1,200 customers around the world. We don't focus on any particular geographic region or any particular industry. We've got customers that are in finance, in pharmaceuticals, manufacturing, government, education, NGOs, just about every industry you can imagine where people need data. They've chosen WhereScape. And the big thing we do through data automation is really increase the output. And I want to emphasize two things. One is, obviously, you can produce your initial release of your product much faster. Your data warehouse, your data vault, data lake, data mart, data lakehouse. But the way things are done with automation, things are done consistently. And I think the real payoff for WhereScape is not just in the creation of your data infrastructure, it's the maintenance of it. As a programmer, I spent 25% of my time writing code and 75% of my time debugging code, which was not nearly as much fun. Because of automation, because of the consistency of style, the maintenance costs go way down. Refactoring, bringing in new sources, things like that are much easier. So why data automation? Obviously cost. The immediate cost you think of is labor costs. Certainly that's an impact. We have a case study out where a company had 20 people working on a project for a year to create a data vault. They couldn't do it. They realized they needed automation. They bought WhereScape, and 2 people finished that project in under a year. Risk. There's a couple of different kinds of risk. Obviously, getting a project done, getting it delivered, and it being used is a big risk. The idea of bringing in consultants or people just walking out the door with knowledge in their head, that's a huge risk without data automation. Complexity, there's new technologies every year. Databricks is new. They now have to deal with web APIs, JSON files, XML files, variety of sources. Data automation allows you to reduce that complexity by using scripts and automation to hide a lot of that complexity. Urgency and agility. I can get things done much faster with data automation. I can develop a prototype in front of a data analyst. They can use Yellowfin, Tableau, Power BI, whatever business tool they have to look at that, the tools they're familiar with. I can make changes. I can add transforms. I can add calculated columns right in front of them, and they can see the results of that right away. That kind of prototyping allows IT to develop and deliver a much better project. I'll turn this over to Edgar, but I'll just throw up one last slide and say that if you want to talk to us, you can certainly go to wherescape.com and request a demo, or you can email us at moreinfo@wherescape. So with that, I will turn it over to Edgar and Katie.
Great. Thank you very much, Patrick. And welcome to everyone to our webinar today. It's really great to see a whole lot of people that have turned up. We're going to be talking about how you can use Yellowfin with WhereScape. So I imagine some of you are existing WhereScape customers, and some of you may be looking at a new project perhaps, and are interested in maybe how to get that data out to the business. We're going to be touching upon all of those points today.
Edgar, if I could quickly interrupt, there's one thing I forgot. I need to tell people that at the bottom of the screen, there's a Q&A button, that if you have any questions during the presentation, you can type in your questions and we'll either answer them live or answer them at the end of the presentation. Okay, thanks, Edgar.
That's okay. Thanks, Patrick. We really do welcome questions. I love questions. So yeah, please do take advantage of that. So just by way of a bit of introduction, my name is Edgar Kautzner. I'm from Minerra. I'm here with our consultant based in DC, Katie Henriquez. And I'm based in Melbourne myself. So it's a very early morning for me and a morning for you. So I suppose just by way of a little bit of introduction of Minerra as a business. So we're split across the world geographically with consultants spread across Australia, Asia, and North America. And we get involved very heavily in the data consulting, data integration, data training space. And we're Yellowfin and WhereScape customers, hence being here talking to you today. So just a little bit about what we're going to discuss today. So we're going to talk about Yellowfin as a BI tool. Katie and I have been working with Yellowfin for a very long time. From my perspective, probably around, 11, 12 years. So I'm going to be talking about Yellowfin in depth. We're also going to be talking about how Yellowfin and WhereScape work really well together, are really partners in BI in terms of, on one side, rapidly developing your data structures, and on the other side, getting them out to the business in the right way for the right to the right audience. We're going to do a demonstration. Katie's going to run the demonstration for us, where we're going to basically pick up at the end of a WhereScape model and then take that into Yellowfin. And there's going to be time for some Q&A at the end, as we mentioned. Okay, just to start off. So of course, there's a lot of buzz in our industry, which is really great. And one of the reasons for that is that people, the levels of data literacy is increasing. People are demanding data to make informed business decisions. And that really puts a bit of pressure on the analytics team, the BI team, to get the data into the hands of the business as quickly as possible. And of course, there are two sides to that. One is about getting access to that data and integrating the data into a repository or a data warehouse, data lake, data mart, so that it can be easily accessed. And the next side of that is that you need to get it into the hands of the business so they can start getting value from the data. And really, it's when the business starts getting value from the data that the project is justified and the business gets value overall. And further to that, users need to be able to self-serve the information they need as well. And we're going to be talking quite a bit about creating a rich self-service BI experience using Yellowfin, and that leverages the robust underpinnings of the WhereScape, the models that WhereScape rapidly develops. And so, as I've been talking about, you really have this cycle and this partnership between data warehouse and BI, of course, where you have your data structures being developed using a tool like WhereScape. So you're getting your data warehouse and your data structures in place. And then you have the BI layer, so Yellowfin, where you're building out the analytics content, you're building out your self-service BI experience, getting it out to the user so that they can then get value from it. One thing I'm going to talk about is that it's about when you're providing analytical content to your users, you need to choose the right way of providing it to them. There are some people that are going to want a self-service BI experience, and that's going to be suited to them. But there are other people that may interact with the system by, for example, a dashboard or a presentation, but others may not even interact with the system directly. They might get information served to them either via an embedded analytical experience within an application, or maybe even by getting a report or a dashboard sent to them regularly by email. And I think really getting the balance right and getting the mix right is important, so that you're engaging with users in the right way, the way that fits best with them. Let's talk a little bit about Yellowfin as a business, if you haven't had much exposure to Yellowfin. So Yellowfin was actually started in Melbourne, Australia, the city where I'm located right now, and has a 20-year history of creating a really robust BI platform. Over that time, it's grown to a large number of customers and end users, really across 70 countries in the world. And the platform has always been a web-based BI tool. So right from the start, Yellowfin was a pioneer in providing the user experience to be completely web native. And that's been the case throughout the whole of Yellowfin's history. It was really exciting when Yellowfin joined the Idera family last year. because there are a lot of products in the Idera family, including WhereScape, of course, but also Qbol and Fusion Charts that have really complementary offerings in that data space. So it's opened up a lot of avenues as well. Yellowfin has been named a visionary in the Gartner Magic Quadrant, so 2022 and 9 years before that, so analyst recognition as well. And really, from a Yellowfin perspective, there are 5 key areas that Yellowfin really excels. We're going to take you through dashboards today. Yellowfin is incredibly flexible in terms of creating highly engaging, visually stunning dashboards. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about self-service analytics. There are a couple of aspects to that. One is the report builder, but we're also going to take you through guided natural language query, which is more a guided analytical self-service BI experience. So we're going to talk about that. Analytics anywhere, so using your mobile app to consume Yellowfin content. We're going to touch upon automated analytics. There are a number of aspects in Yellowfin, including Yellowfin signals, that allows you to basically be served with insights that are automatically generated using algorithms. And Yellowfin basically does that automatically for you in the background. And we're going to show you the output of some of those and how they can be presented to the user. And fifth, we have data stories. And really it's data storytelling is what I would extend that to, where you can create blog style narratives in Yellowfin. You can create presentations and a variety of ways to tell a data story within the platform and engage your users. Okay, so let's talk about the various use cases for Yellowfin. So first of all, we'll talk about the enterprise use case where you might have, for example, you might be a healthcare organization, might be education, could be a government department, and you want to use a BI tool to get data out for internal stakeholders. That's one use case of Yellowfin that is very, very common, of course. And we're going to talk about that. The other, I suppose, use case for Yellowfin, where Yellowfin's highly suitable, is for software vendors. So if you have if you have a software tool and you want to improve the analytical capabilities of that software tool, you want to stop your developers consuming their time developing custom reports for their customers, Yellowfin is highly suitable for embedding within a product. And in fact, a lot of people use Yellowfin without actually knowing it, because it's the underlying engine that drives the analytics within software platforms that you may be familiar with. The third target, I suppose, use case is the embedded enterprise. And just to give you an example of what we're talking about there, we work with a number of customers, and one of them, for example, is a large fast food chain, and they have embedded analytical content using Yellowfin in various devices that are used internally in internal applications to get data out to people within the context of the application they're using. So I spoke before about WhereScape and Yellowfin being partners in BI, and that's really the truth, because you have really two sides of the coin, or in this case, two sides of the iceberg, where you have WhereScape with robust patterns to rapidly develop your ETL. And really, this is the layer that the end user often doesn't see, because it's kind of below the surface, and it's the work that's done in the background. And using WhereScape, you can rapidly develop those data structures. So then on the surface that the user can see, you have Yellowfin, where you're providing your self-service BI, your dashboards and reports and stories, your automated monitoring, and underpinned by a very, very robust layer of security and governance. And often to people, the BI tool is the system, whereas the data warehouse is the robust underpinning technology that supports the front end. I'm not going to spend too much time here, but just overall, this is effectively the Yellowfin stack, where we have a data source connection that you would connect to your data warehouse or any other sources you have. And we're going to spend a bit of a time talking about the view layer, the Yellowfin view layer. The view layer is where you can create your model in Yellowfin and also create that self-service BI experience. And Katie's going to take you through that in just a moment. Once you have a view, you can create a report, and then you can add that report to dashboards, stories, and presentations. There are a few other components like signals and data transformations that we can talk about, that we'll talk about signals as well. Okay, so we're going to hand over in just a moment to Katie to run the demonstration. But basically what we have here, we're going to start off right at the end of a WhereScape flow. So we've got an existing model here where we've got a fact table and we have a number of different dimensions. And what we've done using WhereScape is we've just added a customer dimension, and we've done that in about, say, 15 minutes. And we've added a foreign surrogate key to the orders fact table that links out to the customer dimension. So we've rapidly developed that in WhereScape. What we're going to do now is we're going to go into Yellowfin, add that new dimension in, and then we're going to take you through how you can get that data out to the business. So without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Katie.
Thank you, Edgar. So now we are in Yellowfin, and like Edgar mentioned, we are in the model stage of building our view. So we have our star schema ready here with the fact table joined to the other dimension tables, and we just want to drag in this customer's table here, like Edgar mentioned, and it's super easy and simple to drag in. You can just on the canvas, and then from the fact table, we will join to this dimension customers using those keys. Just really straightforward, add that there. And now you'll see that this is joined in our model step. So once that's there, we are going to just enable some of those columns to analyze later in the report builder. So I'm just going to select something like company name, contact name, and country. I'll update that, and now we can see those columns are appearing bold. We can also look at the SQL here and see exactly which columns are enabled and what table they're coming from in the view. We can also see, we can make sure that our customers dimensions table is joined to that fact table and make sure it's the right key. But here we can really visualize our model. And then we'll move to the prepare step of the Yellowfin view builder. And here we get an idea of what our data is going to look like. So I already have some columns that I've brought in from other tables, but now under this dimensions folder, you can see we have those 3 columns that I just enabled from the custom customers table. And we're just going to go in and edit these just so they're a bit more readable for the end user in the report builder. So I'm just going to add customer company so people know what this company is referring to. And under the description, I can just add company placing order, and I'll show you how why we might want to add that description just for readability and context for the people using this self-service tool. So I'll just write contact placing order, and for country, this might be confusing. It could be mixed up with maybe employee country, or maybe the company where the product was manufactured. So I'm just going to specify here, this is the country where company ordering, country where company placing the order is based, just so users have that clarity when they are building the reports. So I'm going to close out of here, and you can see that these columns have updated their name, but right now they're in this dimensions folder, and we want to make that pretty clear. Right now that's pretty generic, so we're going to just add a customer field folder to just make our view super organized, so it's accessible and intuitive for self-service. So perfect. Now we have this customer field folder and those fields in there. I'm just going to delete this empty dimensions field folder. We don't need that anymore. But as you can see, when you open these folders, you can see the different columns coming from tables. And if you can actually toggle on and off this view and see exactly where which tables those columns are coming from. Okay, so we're going to actually cover some of those automation settings that Edgar mentioned, and that includes guided natural language query. So right now we're just going to enable the columns that we just added from the customers table. We're just going to enable that for guided natural language query. Super simple, just check a box. And here we see the updated name and description. And we'll go over how guided natural language query works in a few minutes. Okay, now that we have that, we're going to publish our view. So as you can see, once we have that table from WhereScape, it is so simple to just drag and drop it onto our model step and organize our view and make those fields ready for self-service. So they're already in. I just selected the view that we edited, and they're showing up in that customer field folder, which is exactly what we want. So we're just going to drag and drop some fields into our report builder. So I can just select a bunch, drag them into our canvas, and those just show up. We have the product, some information about the product and the customer. And these are coming from both the product table and the customer table. I'll also drag a metric like quantity in here. And you can see it will aggregate to that sum. We can change this if we want. We're going to keep it as a sum, but we're just going to edit that name. And we just want it to say quantity. Okay, perfect. Now we have a super easy to build table here. And we're also going to add some filters. So I'm just going to add products category, name, and we can do order date. Once I drag those in there, the filters on the right-hand side appear, and we can just play around with them and make sure that they're working how we want it to. I'm going to sort on dairy products and apply. Perfect. Our row count is limited, and now we just get the dairy products and exactly what company and who is placing that order in that company or in that for that customer. Okay, so I just filtered on a random dairy product. So we're in the table, the data view is what's called, of the report builder. We're going to navigate to this charts tab here within the report, and we have all the fields that we have dragged in to the data view. So we're just going to create a simple chart here. I'll use the quantity and the customer country. And Yellowfin just creates an automatic chart for us, which is super helpful. You can edit and customize it as much as you'd like, but right now we're just getting this lovely auto chart. So, and with this chart, you can also still filter. I'm not going to apply these filters. And we see that now it's just showing all products and all product categories. So we're going to publish this chart or this report, and I'll just call it quantity ordered by country, and we'll place it in these field folders, which can have different types of security applied to them. So I'll save it, and great. Now we've just created a report super quickly with an intuitive user face that's pretty easy for even non-technical users to navigate through and build content. So now I'll show you some of the automation that we talked about using Yellowfin's Ask a Question. This is a really cool feature. It just has a really intuitive and simple to use user interface that non-technical users and technical users alike can easily utilize and make really meaningful reports and charts. So I'm just going to select this orders table or this is the view that I added the customers dimension table to. And here we have prompts. So this is why it's called guided natural language query. And the guided means it has these prompts for us. So we're always going to have a query that will return results. So I'm just going to compare the quantity, and I will do for let's do ship country is equal to, I'll compare the US and the UK. And I will refine it by year. So as you can see, there are so many different options here. And you can really play around and create all sorts of types of reports and charts using just Ask a Question. So Yellowfin just created a report which has 4 charts. It has some KPIs here that give us the big picture, as well as a chart showing the quantity that was shipped to the US versus UK for all the time data that is stored. So this is really neat. You can edit the question here or just ask a new question. You can also actually open this report. And here we can see the exact report that Yellowfin built in seconds. And we can edit this as much as we want. So we can actually, change if we wanted to look at, actually, I don't want to look at the USA, I want to look at Brazil. You can just do that in this report here. If we navigate to the charts, you can see the different types of charts Yellowfin has made for this Ask a Question. And you can add this report or any of the charts or the table to any dashboard, story, or presentation in Yellowfin. So that's kind of an overview of Ask a Question or Yellowfin's guided natural language query. And we're going to move on to dashboards now. So reports and charts can be freely placed on dashboards. And you can include, this dashboard has images, objects, text, and many different reports and charts within the dashboard. So they're super customizable. We'll see another dashboard later that looks completely different, but is also just in Yellowfin. And content like the report we created can be reused across as many dashboards, stories, presentations, etc. that you would like. So building right now, I just edited this dashboard and it has some KPIs and charts that are coming from that orders, the data from WhereScape. So I have a space for the chart we just created. So I'm just going to search, I think it was called quantity per customer country. I think we link filters, And so we can just drag in the charts that we just created or any of the tables and just really resize this chart to fit our dashboard. We'll just make sure it's looking nice. And here we have the filters on the dashboard. So I'm just going to make sure they are linked. So when users select a product category, that every single chart and report on this dashboard is updating and synced. So I'll just apply those. And when I'll preview the dashboard now. So perfect. Now you can see the chart that we just created is already added to that dashboard. And if we just want to look at beverages and apply, every chart is updating to show just beverages. It's like, it was really quick here, but I'll show you again that this chart is actually changing. When I'm showing seafood, it's updating, and now the quantities are different. So that's kind of just out of the box Yellowfin dashboards, very intuitive to use. But Yellowfin also has what's called code mode. So right now you can see we're on the visual toggle here. If I toggle over to code mode, we have spaces to enter HTML, JavaScript, and CSS. So you can really customize and add more advanced functionality to Yellowfin to make your dashboard and product really stand out here. Just using low-code methodologies. So I can publish that dashboard, and yeah, that's just showing how you can easily go from adding your dimensions table from WhereScape to your view, editing your view, quickly creating a report, using those Yellowfin automation features, and adding a report to a dashboard, all within a couple minutes.
Great, thanks, Katie. That was really good. And what we're going to do now is have a look at some dashboards that have been created earlier that just highlight the flexibility in Yellowfin and the type of I suppose graphical user experience that you can expect. So this is an example dashboard here for a liquor distribution company. And you can see here that we've used a combination of images and charts to create something that looks really visually stunning. So you can see they've got different sections for various charts here. And right down the very bottom, you'll see that we have, we've incorporated some images here to focus on the various categories. We've also included some buttons here. So if Katie clicks on the whiskey button, that's going to go ahead and move us to a different dashboard here, different dashboard tab, where you can see we've got a really nice looking dashboard that focuses on the whiskey sales. One thing I'm going to just quickly mention here at the top is just the widget on the right-hand side that you can see, which has a number of different observations about the data. So for example, the sales amount spiked on a particular date for a particular product category. All of these are automatically generated in Yellowfin using Yellowfin signals. Briefly, Yellowfin signals is effectively like a data analyst that analyzes your data every so often automatically using machine learning and algorithms. And what it will do is analyze the data, identify the items of statistical significance, and then surface them to you. So instead of having to find all of those manually, Yellowfin will find them automatically, and the time to insight, the time to decision is much shorter with Yellowfin signals. Let's scroll down a little bit, Katie, just to look at the rest of this dashboard. So you can see we've got a few more charts here and some more images that make it look really great. One thing I'll briefly mention here as well is we have a number of different buttons on this last little area, create buttons. These could be used to bridge the gap between a dashboard and an operational system. So using JavaScript in code mode that Katie showed you before, a button could then basically drive data to end up in another system. It could drive, for example, an API call to create an order or to create a ticket in a system. So it kind of closes the feedback loop between the BI tool and back into the operational system as well. Now, dashboards aren't the only option in Yellowfin. We're going to show you an example of a presentation now as well. Presentations in Yellowfin are really like PowerPoint built into the platform. And you can see here we have a deck that you might, for example, present every month or every quarter to a group of stakeholders. And instead of recreating that every quarter with the updated numbers in PowerPoint and exporting and importing, you can build that right within the Yellowfin platform. So really great way of telling a data story to your end users. So that's Yellowfin Present. All of these charts are fully engaging and fully interactive, just like they would be on a dashboard, for example. What we're going to have a look now is another type of way that you can tell a data story to an end user. And this is called a Yellowfin story. This is a long form narrative, more of a blog, really. And you can create some, add your charts in and add some like a narrative and some text to explain to the end user maybe something that happened in the business that you want to get out there, or maybe a success story, perhaps on a strategy that worked really well that you want to get out to the business. And you can embed content like videos and other types of content as well to engage that your users. And also third-party tools. Some data from third-party tools like Power BI, Tableau, and Click can also be embedded within stories. So you can get all of your data in the one place. So that summarizes the demo for us. I'm going to do a couple of additional slides now just to talk about the Yellowfin platform more broadly. So let me go ahead and share my screen and I will take you through that. Okay. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about Yellowfin as a platform. So Yellowfin is effectively a software program that you can install, and it can be installed in a way, deployed in a way that really suits your needs. So we have customers that deploy within a data center, could be on a private or public cloud. Could be on, for example, an EC2 instance, but it could also be within a container as well, containerized deployment. So Linux, Windows, any kind of platform as well. So it's very flexible in the way that you deploy it in a similar sense to WhereScape. The security is really, really robust in Yellowfin as well. And I'm going to touch upon a few of those things. But certainly row-level security in Yellowfin is very, very robust and very flexible. A lot of customers sort of come to us when they experience challenges in especially row-level security and making sure that people only see what they ought to see. You can lock down fields as well. You can and also your content as well, your reports and dashboards. You can lock them down individually or at the content folder level. So a lot of flexibility there in terms of how you secure your environments. Yellowfin's also multi-tenant capable as well. So, for example, if you do have a multi-tenant system, if you're providing information to your customers and you have effectively multiple tenants, Yellowfin can be deployed in a way that each customer has their own tenancy, and you can isolate your content and your data security to that customer alone. So providing a self-service experience to your customer and providing them a virtual instance of Yellowfin to create all the content in, and for that absolutely never to be seen by any other tenant. It's completely isolated. So that's another very common deployment architecture that we use. Yellowfin's also highly scalable. We have a customer who's scaling up to well over 100,000 users, and so certainly very scalable, can be clustered. vertically and horizontally, and also can be configured for high availability and fault tolerance as well. And as you would have seen in the demo, we really focused on the rich self-service user experience through providing the report builder experience, but also guided natural language query. And also then providing the rich dashboard experience so you can tell a data story in an engaging way. One thing we didn't touch upon is some of the other ways you can interact with Yellowfin, but certainly embedding Yellowfin content in an application or a website is something that is a very common use case. And also getting data out to the business using a broadcast and email as well is something that is very, very common for people who may not necessarily engage directly with the platform. So that brings us to the end of the webinar. Just before we go to Q&A, I'm going to tell you just a little bit about Minerra as a business. As I mentioned, we're a Yellowfin and WhereScape partner. We're highly specialized in those products, especially in all of the aspects of Yellowfin, including plan and build, scaling, tuning, integrating Yellowfin and extending it with custom components. We have very deep expertise in all aspects of Yellowfin. We also get very heavily involved in all types of data consulting projects from data pipelines, data marts, lakes, vaults, data visualization, and the advanced analytics as well, artificial intelligence and machine learning. One more thing I'll quickly say is we also do have a data literacy program that we've created in-house that we deliver to primarily a lot of financial institutions and government organizations and education to help business people make better decisions with data, and helps business people work more effectively with data as well. So that's a little bit about us. But what I'm going to do now is allow some time for Q&A. I would really welcome some questions about anything we've covered today. If you have any questions about WhereScape as well, we can certainly cover some of those things as well.
All right, thanks, Edward. Thanks, Katie. Yeah, I'll remind people that there is a Q&A button at the bottom. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask them. If you have that, what the French would call esprit d'escalier, if you think of a great idea after the webinar is over, feel free to contact us at WhereScape or at Yellowfin. You did mention about people using it at enterprise level and an embedded level. And actually at WhereScape, we're doing both with Yellowfin. We're using it internally. We're using WhereScape to build marketing data warehouse on all of our contacts, marketing events, and then we're using Yellowfin to very quickly generate usable, actionable reports. And we're finding some really, really interesting data that we never would have found otherwise about what has the most impact on getting people through the sales cycle. And we also are using it as an embedded tool. We haven't released it yet. We have released Red version 10, which has a new interface and a new third-party scheduler. And what we're looking at doing right now is embedding Yellowfin into WhereScape, so you can generate reports on jobs running, how fast they're running. You can have dashboards that warn you if jobs are taking longer or processing more data than usual or less data than usual. So it's a very, very flexible tool, both in terms of using it internally and using it externally. You also mentioned the fast food company. We talked earlier about that. You said they were actually embedding it in the point of sale system and capturing real-time data from the cash registers. And then the managers and of the stores and directors of the regions would be able to have real-time data on sales. That's pretty amazing.
That's right. It's really about engaging the end users, even for them at that store level, in data-driven decision making. And in that case, it's really about getting the data out to them in the right way. And for them, they live in that point of sale system, and that's the way where we provide the analytics for them in the system they use most regularly, so that they can be engaged directly without having to go to some other system or fire up a computer.
Yeah, for those not familiar with it, Idera is the parent company of both WhereScape and Yellowfin, and there are probably about 20 different brands. Some are code development tools, data ops, DevOps, testing tools, and we had our all hands meeting yesterday. There were probably, I think, 500 attendees, and just about everyone that was talking and doing presentations was talking about how great Yellowfin was. So I strongly recommend that if you haven't seen it yet, if you want a longer demo, if you want to learn more about it, feel free to reach out to Edgar at Minerra. All right, I don't see any questions, but Katie, Edgar, I appreciate your time and attention, and for everyone who's attending, I appreciate your time and attention. And again, feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions after the presentation, but thank you all very much and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks all. Thanks for your attendance.
Thank you.